Okay, welcome, Michael. Thank you very much for joining me. Would you care for a cup of tea?
Oh yes, please.
That's why we're here. We're here in Geneva for HPLC 2015. There you go.
Thank you.
And you were here for the plenary lectures yesterday. Anything interesting from those? Any standout points?
Oh yeah, sure. Especially the lecture of Peter Schoonmakers concerning new possibilities in ultra-high separations.
Right.
So it was quite impressive concerning the possibilities on 2D and 3D separations. But to be honest, they are calculating theoretical peak numbers, but when you change it to the reality, it's not so easy to achieve these numbers, especially if you switch to a real omic analysis such as metabolomic or lipidomic.
Right.
You have very large differences in concentrations, so you are not able to achieve such numbers due to the dilution effects.
Right.
So in our lab, we are doing it a little bit different way.
Right, okay.
Because we focus mainly on the optimization of 1D separation, and then we couple it with high-end mass spectrometry, tandem mass spectrometry, using high resolution, high mass accuracy, and we are just going towards the quantification of highest number of species, not theoretically but in real.
Right, so you're focusing on it in an applied sense rather than a theoretical sense, right? So can you tell us a little bit about the work that you're doing?
In the last years, we are focusing on the analysis of lipids.
Yeah.
So we have started a couple of years just doing the analysis of triacylglycerols, and we have developed methods for all type of isomerism of triacylglycerols. It was nice, but to be honest, academical work. Later we have realized that we must focus on all lipid classes, phospholipids, sphingolipids, glycolipids, and so on. So we have developed methods for these. But now we are doing this together with the full validation and applicability for real analysis. Right. So now we are going towards the methods which can be applied for the analysis of thousands biological samples with the full quantitation using multiple methods, and these methods are complementary.
Right. So you mean in terms of sort of more high throughput analysis of many more samples?
High throughput, robustness, reliability, the use of internal standards, and these things mostly people in academia don't care too much. They
Right.
developed a nice method, great separation, great limit of detection, but when you need to switch this from the theoretical to reality, you need to apply a lot of bioinformatics, validation. This is not really interesting for the scientists, but you must do it. Otherwise,
Right.
this is not applicable in clinical analysis.
Do you think there are enough people working at in that area, actually, great new methods, but actually making sure that they're applicable to real world samples? Do you think there's enough work in that area?
People are starting to realize that this is really important. For example, if you want to do biomarker discovery, what we are heading to, you simply must do it. And in the last decades, people focused mainly on proteomics. So many people are experts in proteomics, but recently they realized that also lipids are important for many diseases.
And it's a hot new area, right? You recently did a webinar for us on lipidomics.
Yeah, sure. So in this webinar, I have summarized the state of art in the lipidomics and what is possible and where this field is heading. Because lipids are for sure involved in any cell in your body.
Right.
In the past, people realized the role that they are just fats and oils, the deposit of energy, but they are also the building blocks of cell membranes, and they have many signaling functions. So they may be up or down regulated in diseases, and this is very important.
And you were just telling me about some exciting breakthroughs that you've had in terms of biomarkers. Can you tell us a little bit about where you are in that research?
Concerning the biomarkers, we have the project just to look for the biomarkers for certain types of cancer.
Yeah.
So we have the samples from clinics and hospitals, we have the cancer tissues surrounding normal tissues, urine, plasma. So we analyze a huge number of samples, we compare the differences, and the goal is just to look for possible biomarkers in collectible body fluids, which may be used for the early diagnosis. And we focus on this type of cancer which don't have real biomarkers at the moment, which have possible treatment just to help the people, but typically you need just to catch the cancer at the beginning. Normally when you have symptoms, it's too late.
It's too late, yeah.
So it's absolutely essential to have such methods.
So I mean, you just talked about quite a lot of clinical samples. How are you collaborating with the clinical side of things? You working with in close collaboration with the hospital, or?
Yes, we are cooperating with some hospitals in Czech Republic, so they are supporting samples using the well-defined protocols. And for example, surgeons during the surgery, they must take out the tumor.
Sure.
And you must take a little bit more than just the tumor to be sure that it will not be returned back.
Sure.
So we obtain the real tumor and surrounding normal tissue. And we obtain this type of samples verified by histology, so we are absolutely sure about this.
Right, okay.
Then we have also cell lines from other department that they prepare tumor cell lines and normal cell lines. And then we have also the experiments with mice. For example, we have at the beginning just normal mice, then there is the introduction of tumor cell lines, and then the tumor growth starts, and we analyze this sample and look for differences.
Right.
And at the moment, we can easily differentiate individual stage of cancer in mice,
right.
in inbred mice. So this is really nice. If we
Right.
have the same for a human being, it would be really great.
Yeah.
But you cannot compare this because in mice, we completely remove the biological variability.
Right.
And in human being, it's much more difficult.
Absolutely. And is that something you're going to be talking about I think you're giving a presentation, is it tomorrow at HPLC?
I will have the presentation in the last day.
On the last day, okay.
As the chairman of future HPLC.
You're going to do the closing lecture, right? Because you're doing 2017.
2017 in Prague, we will organize the HPLC.
Right.
So hopefully at that time I can present something more.
Right.
It will be 2 years later, so we are working hard to prepare a really good symposium in Prague.
Right, and you have a good opportunity here to see how things are happening in Geneva.
Mm-hmm.
How are you thinking of structuring the meeting in Prague? Do you have any early ideas of where you would like to focus, for example, on clinical collaborations, or do you have a particular focus area?
Yeah, of course, we are thinking about this and we have some plans. The basic structure must be identical to follow the standards of this series. But one of my main goals is to attract young scientists,
right.
PhD students, young postdocs, and to give them a possibility to present short lectures in one session, which is just defined for tutorials and young scientists.
Right.
And then, of course, we will include all new things and new features, applications, important applications in the clinical chemistry, in biochemistry, new developments in fundamentals, and definitely, because I'm expert on LCMS, so we will put a focus also on mass spectrometry.
Absolutely. I think Peter Schoenmaker's in Amsterdam. He had one of his tracks was hyphenation with MS, right? Seems like it's, you can't miss it, right? In HPLC now. So, thinking about the rest of the conference, which are the lectures that the lectures that you cannot miss? Would you say? What do you need to see? Whose work are you following more closely? Would you say?
Well, it's difficult to answer. There are many interesting lectures. I have noticed several sessions on supercritical fluid chromatography,
right.
because we are also active in this area. Because due to the technical developments by some companies now, we have robust systems. And what we are doing now, for example, using SFC, if I compare it with the past, we have done the analysis of polar lipids within 1 hour, non-polar lipids 20 minutes. And now we do everything with SFC within 6 minutes.
Wow.
So within 6 minutes, we are able to quantify 30 lipid classes. It means something more than 500 species quantified.
Right.
It's amazing. And a lot of progress in
game
SFC.
changing, right? Speaking to that, you're not limited to one technique or another. You've got an interest in lipidomics. So how do you stay ahead in terms of choosing the right technology? Because that's a big part of what you do. You're at the very cutting edge, right, of what's possible. So how do you ensure that you stay at that cutting edge?
We follow the technical developments in chromatography and mass spectrometry because we are attending regularly all these top conferences and we just focus on front-end instrumentation. And in my lab, we have like 6 LCMS systems, 2D LCLC, SFC. We have MOLDI coupled with orbit trap, MOLDI imaging,
Right.
2 systems for ion mobility. So we just try to have everything at the earliest possible convenience, just to test it and to be first, just to investigate the possibility of new
Right.
top-class instrumentation.
So thinking of that then, you know, what are the main challenges that you face? Like if you could sort of, you know, have a one-to-one with an instrument company and say, right, this is what you need to focus on for my field. What would you say? What are the main elements that you need in the perfect system?
It must be reliability, and typically you do it faster. You do it more sensitive with higher resolution in chromatography or mass spectrometry. So these conventional aspects, what you need for any analytical method,
Right.
yes,
Just better.
just better, just definitely better. And sometimes you need also focus to some species what are really trace in your samples. If you follow the conventional methods like LCMS or shotgun MS, you basically quantify the most common species.
Right.
But these signaling molecules are typically really trace molecules.
Right.
So you need dedicated methods. For example, we use MOLDI. Not too many people use MOLDI for quantitation. We are starting with this. This is not absolutely perfect quantitation, but when you do it with really dedicated protocols, with a lot of averaging, you can still quantify even with MOLDI. And when you select specific conditions just for a certain type of lipids, for example, acidic lipids with special matrices, we are able to increase the sensitivity like by 2-3 orders of magnitude compared to others. And this way we can see new classes of lipids.
Right, which is key, right, to what
Yeah.
you're trying to do. Yeah. So, you know, where do you see the lipidomics is a hot, not new area, but it's suddenly become of great interest, it seems to me. Where do you see, you know, the field going over the next couple of years? Of course, you know, we hope for better instrumentation and the ability to quantify more classes and so on. But, you know, what are some realistic goals? Like, where do you actually, you know, realistically see the field in, I don't know, 5 years? That this will become more routine, or that, you know, we'll still be, you know, developing the right methods to get to the right place?
For sure, the greatest progress will be in bioinformatics.
Right.
Because if you have so many samples, so many species to quantify, if I compare the situation a few years ago, we are able to do these things, but just for a couple of samples, and we were working for weeks or months. Now we are able to do, for example, the study with 40 mice. We have completed it within 5 working days by one person.
Wow.
Yeah, and in past it was like half of a year.
That's big progress.
And in the future it should be fully automated using the dedicated softwares, the dedicated platforms, and I believe that you can do it much faster for clinical studies, even for people who are really not so much trained in chromatography or mass spectrometry,
Right.
because for some of them it's very difficult. And I believe that the data from lipidomics, metabolomics and proteomics must be integrated together with metabolomic pathways, just to understand what is upregulated or downregulated. And also in case of disease what we study, it must be consulted with cancer biologists.
Right.
And the communication with all these people, it's very hard, because they use the different language,
yeah.
They don't understand each other. Some of them are self-confident, so you must establish contacts with the right people, and just at least to understand what they are talking to and listen to them.
Yeah, but
sometimes
I think
it's not easy.
No, but it does feel. I think people are now more open to this kind of collaborative approach, right? I mean, we did an article with Ron Heron, who's set up the multimodal imaging suite. He's working very closely with clinicians, and it seems that this is a new, not necessarily brand new trend, but it seems that there's a coming together of you know, of surgery or pathology and of analytical science, and it's this meeting point, right, where we start to learn new things and focus on the right elements. So I think you see that as a trend continuing into the future, presumably.
Absolutely, you are right. These trend leading people like Ron Heron, Zoltán Takács, and other people in past, they did the pure science, the academical science, the method development, but now they are changing that they cooperate with clinics and they apply their methods for real world.
Yeah.
It is what I'm talking from the beginning, that this is not easy just to overcome it. We started a couple of years, and at the beginning I didn't know anything about the clinical analysis. I have little knowledge in biology, but I have the people who know it better than me.
Right. Well, then that's the key, right? You surround yourself with people with the knowledge. Yeah, absolutely. Well, thank you very much, Michael, for joining me today. I hope you enjoyed the rest of HPLC in Geneva, and we'll very much look forward to HPLC in Prague in 2017. So, you know, the HPLC machine continues moving forward. So, enjoy the rest of the week. It's been a pleasure. Thanks very much.
So, thank you very much for the invitation.
Pleasure. And please enjoy some tea.